Welcome students to the Unit 4. The Spirituality of Care Professionals and Nurses. Lecture 3. The Awareness of One's Own Spirituality as a Form of Coping and Stress Management. Nursing has long been considered one of the most stressful professions. Stress at the workplace may have negative consequences on nursing performance. Consequences of stress on nursing performance may become more crucial in intensive care units where the safety of patients and quality of care are important outcomes of nursing care. The World Health Organization defines the occupational stress as the physiological and emotional responses that occur when workers perceive an imbalance between worker effort and associated reward. Occupational stress has become one of the most severe health problems in the contemporary world, which challenge the nurse's ability to cope. Work stress in nursing was first assessed in 1960, when Mendes identified 4 sources of anxiety among nurses: patient care, decision-making, taking responsibility, and change. Stress in nursing is attributed largely to the physical labor, suffering and emotional demands on patients and families, work hours, shift work, interpersonal relationships, inter- and interprofessional conflicts, and other pressures that are central to the work nurses do. Work-related stress can be caused by poor management, unsatisfactory working conditions, and lack of support from colleagues and supervisors. Stress occurs in a wide range of work circumstances, but is often worsened when employees feel they have little support from supervisors and colleagues, as well as little control over work processes. Burnout syndrome was first introduced by Freudenberger in the mid-1970s, defining it as a phenomenon characterized by emotional wear of the worker, accompanied by a decrease in physical and psychological energy and a significant lack of motivation at work. Although this syndrome is common among health professionals, nurses seem to be more affected due to the continuous and multidimensional exposure to patients, pain, death, and the lack of support from healthcare managers. As we have seen in the previous video lectures, here we find the field of implementation of practices concerning interpersonal spirituality, which here becomes a fundamental tool in the management of the stress that characterize the works of nurses. Nurses use a wide array of coping strategies in order to overcome burnout. Among them, spiritual and religious belief are important ways to handle the challenges and the burnout caused by the overload of the nursing care. In this context, Florence Nightingale, founder of modern secular nursing, considered spirituality as part of the human flourishing and intrinsic human nature, and as the deepest and most powerful healing resource available to the person, having important implications to nursing. In the last decades, spirituality and religion and religiousness have been increasingly studied, generally showing a positive influence in both mental and physical health and being incorporated in guidelines and position statements of different medical and nursing organizations. Higher level of spiritual and religion also were related to a protective effect on occupational stress and better self-compassion. Self-compassion not only improves the ability to confront painful life situations that are outside of our control with no need to fix the suffering or push away negative emotions. It also allows us to recognize that life's challenges and personal failures are simply part of being human. In short, nurses' spirituality or spiritual care based on mutual growth with patients do not only enhance spiritual well-being and influence a positive work environment, but also improve spiritual care competences. Academic research, especially of a qualitative nature, is still scarce. There's clearly a gap, especially with regard to the interpretation of the phenomenon of nurse burnout by the humanities, such as anthropology. This remains an important area of research to be explored in depth. The difficulty in carrying out research in the field of nursing with the tools of anthropology is above all methodological, since the tools for carrying out anthropological research require the presence of an observer in the field. It is important to underline that in Western hospital institutions, the presence of non-medical related personnel in the hospital wards is not expected. So, we see a wider understanding of spirituality emerging, extending beyond religion. The broader concept of spirituality features in current nursing codes of ethics, like in Nursing and Midwifery Council in 2004, and nurse education guidelines, like Quality Assurance Agency for Higher Education in 2001, where nurses on qualifying are expected to be competent in assessing patients' spiritual needs and planning, implementing, and evaluating spiritual care to address these needs. The fact that nursing is constructing a wider understanding of spirituality indicates a willingness to adapt to changing patient needs and to shape service provision accordingly. It is important to remember that the topic of spirituality in personal care is one on which English-speaking countries have been carrying out important research and subsequent publications for several years. One of the most important projects in the area of integrating spiritual care and nursing is the one developed in 2016 by the European Network Enhancing Nurses and Midwives' Competence in Providing Spiritual Care through Innovative Education and Compassionate Care, EPIC, whose objectives are to educate nursing students and build a worldwide network of practitioners, researchers, and stakeholders in order to communicate and extend best practices in the area of spiritual care. In conclusion, dear students, we would like to reiterate that spiritual care makes it possible to direct the therapeutic relationship to the patient, who is considered not only as a sick person, but as a person to be cared for in her psycho, physical, and spiritual wellness. Thank you.